How long is it going to take to recognise the effects on their children, on their grandchildren and generations to come?
And that's certainly part of what we want to talk to everybody about. There may be some questions that can be answered quite quickly, but there may also be questions that do take a long time. And some of the research overseas has been going on for 10 or 15 years. So we're hoping that as we watch what's happening overseas, we can either contribute to it or we can learn from it. But also we want to talk to people about what can be done quickly.
Joe Harawira, what do you say about that?
That's why I was saying that that we are in a position now to progress our issues entirely. From our epidemiology perspective, both local and international, yeah, we can see facilities in there that supports our issues. I guess what I want to say here is that the question has to be asked: why is the ministry with us at this point in time? Obviously, in the last 15 years, there's been a heck of a lot of work going down, and not everybody was privy to all the work that what we've been doing in the last 15 years to get us to this point. The simple reason being is that we had to get ourselves skilled up from an epidemiology perspective, from a scientific perspective, from a doctor's perspective, from just about all the perspectives that were appropriate to this kaupapa. And I think, and again, I have to push the point that there are facilities within this document that we can progress a lot of these issues that we're speaking about at this point in time.
Hemi, you've just heard what Joe's had to say. Yes. You've also heard what Sally's had to say. Does that put your mind at any ease?
Oh, what annoys me is that we are the ones that are suffering. The doctors have given us certificates and all that, and most of our doctors have passed away. We are getting the ones that are getting the effects from that dioxin, and yet the government's not looking at us. They are saying, oh, we've got to go to do a research on it to see whether it is those dioxin that's poisoning us. In the end, we are sick, and I'm terribly sorry to say to the government, you know, we're not worried about ourselves now because there's only a few of us left. All we are worried about are our grandchildren, our children, and right down to our great-grandchildren, because it's a sickness that will carry on right through the system of their bodies. And once they get that, well, what can we do? All we're asking is that don't worry about us. As far as I'm concerned, I'm more concerned about the kids and that. And not only that, the government should also step in and say something, but we've never heard anything from them.
Earlier on, it was interesting because off camera you were saying to me, you know, at the end of the day, there's only one group responsible for this, and that was the company itself.
Yes.
And that's who you hold absolutely responsible. But now you're wanting answers, you're wanting a bit of help, and that's why you're turning to the government now.
That's right. Now, the company that was there at that time was the New Zealand Forest Products. Now, what they had they didn't know that it was the dioxin, that PCP. We didn't know. It wasn't only till when people were starting to get sick and getting these rashes and all that, and then they started looking into it, and they found out later on that there was a dioxin that very bad for the people who were working there. Now, Forest Products then moved out and gave the company over to somebody else, which didn't last very long. So I don't know whether we should blame the company that we first put it into our mixtures and all that, but what can we do? We can't do nothing. All we're saying is that the government should at least come in and back us up.
And let's make it clear, you're not after a payout here, you're not after compensation, you're actually after medical assistance, which has been provided and put on the table for you, the former sawmill workers, but now you want your families to be covered as well.
That's right, because I've seen the effects on my children themselves, because they used to play in the blooming mixture. And then I can see the grandchildren's got it now. But some of them haven't got it, but the old ones has got it. And the thing about it that we don't know what to do. All we do is go to the doctors. I explain to them about the dioxin. They know nothing about it. At this time, the government said that they didn't know nothing about it also. And I think they were dodging the issue.
Hemi Wilson, thank you very much for coming into studio. We do appreciate your time.
Kia ora, Shane.
And Joe Harawira and Sally Gilbert, we thank you very much as well for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, the Ministry of Health want to hear from any former sawmill workers exposed to PCP or their whānau. They want to build a database of those affected by PCP exposure in order to provide better healthcare services. So please call 0800 288 588. But what do you think? Should the Whakatane sawmill workers be compensated for what happened to them? Email us or post your whakaaro on our Facebook page. Details are on screen now. And remember, you can watch these interviews and more on our website at www.tvnz.co.nz, keyword Marae. And if you'd like to subscribe to our weekly email newsletter, drop us a line to marae@tvnz.co.nz. Well, that's our show.